And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our growlings when people change, but not us. And we just chilling, kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the moss room. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes sound funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes sound funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. Got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes sound funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding me up. Play me like a bass guitar. Simmer down and mash me up. Tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Me up. Drive me around in your red Ford. Shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 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 oh. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes sound funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I
What's up, Stony fam? Back at it again. Another video. How's everybody doing? All right, today we are getting ready for Kingdom Hearts 3 for the Twitch stream. So what we're going to be doing today is actually watching a story video on YouTube to kind of refresh us before we start playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 in a long time. I do need to replay those games. Let me know if that's something you'd want to see me stream. Maybe we actually just go do Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, let me know. I don't know. We can figure it out. Whatever. But let's get the show on the road. Here we go. Kingdom Hearts story summary.
Our story begins in the age of fairy tales, when the world was whole. Kingdom Hearts, a massive collection of hearts, was the source of all light and thus wisdom and power. Kingdom Hearts had a counterpart in the form of the X-Blade, which also served as its protector. The Master of Masters, an elusive prophet, studied the X-Blade and discovered a way to create a weapon called the Keyblade in the image of the X-Blade by extracting it from a person's heart. The Master of Masters foresaw a devastating battle on the horizon, which would bring forth the end of the world. He trained 5 of his apprentices, named the Foretellers, to each lead a separate union to protect the world and its light from the approaching darkness. He gave each of them their own Keyblade as well as a special role, including giving one member, Luxu, a Keyblade in which he had placed his gazing eye, giving the Master of Masters knowledge of any event this Keyblade with no name observed. He also gave Luxu a special black box that...
It'd be sick as fuck, though. Have your own Keyblade. I mean, who would not want their own Keyblade? Especially from the Master of Masters.
he cannot open, but seemingly knows the contents of. After assigning these roles to his apprentices, the Master of Masters disappears, leaving the Foretellers to carry out the roles he gave to them. However, shortly after, one of the Foretellers, Ira, discovers a nightmare, a dark version of a creature called a Dream Eater which exists to plant bad dreams upon those who sleep. This leads the group to believe that there is a traitor in their ranks. After the group fractures under this pressure, conflicts begin to raise between the 5 unions, and the Master of Masters' true intentions seem to be shown. One foreteller, Ava, gathers various powerful Keyblade wielders who show resistance to the growing darkness and convinces them to go into hiding instead of fighting, naming this new underground group the Dandelions. As the unions fought each other for control of the world's light, or Lux, in order to fight off the growing darkness, the fractured efforts only allowed the darkness to overtake the entire world. This was called the Keyblade War, and it eventually caused the X-Blade to shatter into 20 pieces, 7 of pure light and 13 of pure darkness. Without its protector, Kingdom Hearts disappeared into the darkness. After the battle, the world was saved by the light within the hearts of children, however, not fully. The one world was split into many disconnected worlds. The dilapidated battleground that once hosted the Keyblade War was then known as the Keyblade Graveyard, filled with the Keyblades of those who failed in the war. The remaining wielders, the Dandelions, vowed to protect the world from further destruction and later worked to reunite the unions. Years later, when the events of the Keyblade War were known only as legend, a young man on the Destiny Islands known as Xehanort was paid a visit by a mysterious cloaked figure. As it turns out, this figure was a being named Ansem, a form of Xehanort's future self, traveled back in time. Ansem is a being called a Heartless, which is essentially a living manifestation of the darkness within someone's heart. Ansem grants Xehanort the ability to travel through time in order to gather 10 vessels to house fragments of his future self's heart in order to create an organization that could recreate the X-Blade and restart the Keyblade War. After traveling through time and returning, Xehanort loses his memory of the events, but carries a subconscious desire to become a Keyblade Master and carry out the events that would lead to this foreseen future. Ansem also returns to his own time. Xehanort
I'll be honest. I did not anticipate it to go like so. I thought it was just going to go over like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, get you ready for Kingdom Hearts 3. This is a little bit more than I anticipated. This is awesome. I'm loving it.
Travels to the land of departure and trains to become a Keyblade Master along with his fellow pupil and friend Ericus. The friendship between the two begins to fracture, however, when Ericus believes that the darkness in the world should be eliminated, whereas Xehanort believes it can be controlled and that instead of eliminating darkness, it should instead exist in an equilibrium with light. An aging Xehanort then takes an apprentice, named Ventus, with the sole purpose of using his body as a vessel to transfer his heart into. However, Ventus proves to be too weak for this purpose, and Xehanort instead extracts the darkness from his heart to create a new being known as Vanitas. This process also births a new breed of being called the Unversed, creatures attracted to negativity. Xehanort decides to use Vanitas to recreate the X-Blade by combining his heart of pure darkness with a heart of pure light, which he would find later. Xehanort takes Ventus to Destiny Islands to die, but there, his broken heart is unknowingly touched by a newborn baby named Sora, whose heart mends his own. This allows Ventus to survive, and Xehanort instead takes the boy to Ericus to be trained with his other two pupils, Terra and Aqua. Xehanort sees one of these other apprentices, Terra, as a suitable vessel after the failure of Ventus, and he begins to manipulate him into turning against his friends. During this period, Terra visits Destiny Islands and meets a young boy named Riku. Terra performs a ceremony called the Bequeathing, a ritual in which a Keyblade Master, or somewhat of an equal level, has someone touch their Keyblade to inherit the power to wield one. Terra bequeaths Riku, and a Keyblade called Kingdom Key chooses him. Also during this time, Aqua ends up in Radiant Garden and finds a young girl named Kairi, who accidentally touches Aqua's Keyblade, bequeathing her and allowing a Keyblade to choose her in the process. Meanwhile, Ericus attempts to kill Ventus to prevent him from being used to create the X-Blade and ultimately lead to total destruction, but he is stopped by Terra. Xehanort arrives and kills Ericus and goads Terra to meet him in the Keyblade Graveyard, where Aqua and Ventus follow. At the Keyblade Graveyard, Xehanort transfers his heart into Terra's body to become Terra Xehanort. Terra is able to resist this somewhat, but meanwhile Vanitas possesses Ventus and the two forge to create the X-Blade. This allows Kingdom Hearts to come out of the darkness it was lost to during the Keyblade War, and it appears in the sky. However, Aqua, aided by another Keyblade apprentice, Mickey Mouse, defeat Vanitas to shatter the X-Blade, blasting everyone to different worlds and causing Kingdom Hearts to disappear once again. Ventus's heart is lost after the battle with Vanitas, and Mickey brings him and Aqua to the mysterious tower. There, Aqua meets Yen Sid, a retired Keyblade Master who trained Mickey, and learns that Ventus has fallen into deep sleep until his heart is able to recover. Aqua returns to the Land of Departure to seal it away, as she was instructed to do by Ericus before his death. She transforms the Land of Departure into Castle Oblivion, creating the Chamber of Waking, where she seals Ventus's body while it heals. She then goes to Radiant Garden, where Terra Xehanort landed. Xehanort eventually escapes from Aqua, but loses his memories due to Terra's heart resisting his control. He is then discovered by Ansem the Wise, a different Ansem than we've seen before, who takes him up as his apprentice. Ventus's heart then finds its way back to Sora, merging with his heart in order to heal. Aqua ends up in the Realm of Darkness, where she discovers that time does not flow normally. A year later, Xehanort begins to regain his memories as Master Xehanort. He, along with another apprentice of Ansem's, Breg, convince Ansem to experiment with the heart in order to extract its darkness to create Heartless. Ansem becomes wise to their plan, however, and refuses. Unfortunately, Xehanort, Breg, and Ansem's other apprentices create Organization 13 and banish Ansem the Wise to the Realm of Darkness. Xehanort takes Ansem's name and identity, then extracts the darkness out of himself and his fellow apprentices, creating both Heartless as well as Nobodies, or the shell of the body after the heart has been removed. Xehanort's Heartless retains the name and identity of Ansem afterwards.
This is a fucking lot. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. We're only 7 minutes into this fucking thing. Still got like a half hour to go. What the fuck? I am loving this. I had no idea about any of this. This explains a lot too. There's a lot of questions that I've had that are now being answered. Let's keep going. This is a great adventure. Onwards!
Now split into both a Heartless and a Nobody, the Heartless of Xehanort, Ansem, begins to lead an army of Heartless across many worlds in an attempt to swallow as many as possible to create his own artificial Kingdom Hearts. The Nobody, now called Xemnas, sets out to find more Nobodies to join his Organization 13. Elsewhere, Ansem the Wise discards his stolen name, harnesses the power of the darkness but doesn't let it consume him, and escapes the Realm of Darkness to Twilight Town. He takes the name Diz, an acronym for Darkness and Zero, and disguises himself in a red robe and mask to conceal his identity. He takes refuge in an abandoned mansion and dedicates his time to researching the Nobodies and the Heartless. 9 years later, Sora, the boy who Ventus's heart had taken refuge, is preparing to leave his homeworld of...
I mean, one thing I'm not quite getting, though, is Ventus looks exactly like Roxas. So I'm hoping they explain how Roxas... I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Fuck, I don't know.
Of Destiny Islands with his friend Riku, the boy Terra bequeathed, and Kairi, the girl who Aqua bequeathed and eventually washed up on the islands. When Riku opens a door in the secret place on the island, succumbing to the darkness, he allows the Heartless to invade the island. Sora reaches out to touch Riku's heart, and in the process, shows Riku's Keyblade, the Kingdom Key, that his heart is stronger, and it chooses him instead. Now equipped with the Keyblade, Sora is able to fend off the ensuing army before he finds.
Oh, so our Keyblade wasn't even meant for us. It chose us. It was originally for Riku. Got it.
Finds Kairi near the door, which blows open, creating an explosion of darkness that destroys the islands and blows Sora out to sea. Kairi's heart takes refuge inside Sora for protection, and her physical body, as well as Riku, are blasted to locations unknown. Meanwhile, Mickey Mouse, now a Keyblade master and king of his world, has left his home to deal with the growing army of Heartless. He left instructions for his mage Donald Duck and knight Goofy to find the key, and they set out to Traverse Town, a haven to those whose worlds has been destroyed, where they meet up with Sora by coincidence. After discovering that Sora's Keyblade can be used to seal keyholes of worlds, preventing them from being overtaken by Heartless, the group come across Maleficent, who reveals that she is seeking out the 7 Princesses of Heart to unlock the keyhole that leads to the artificial Kingdom Hearts that Ansem created at the end of the world. The 7 princesses, as it turns out, were protected by the 7 fragments of pure light that broke off of the original X-Blade. Sora discovers that Riku had joined Maleficent in her hunt, as she had promised to help him find and rescue Kairi in exchange for his efforts. Riku later finds Kairi, but with her heart seemingly missing from her body. Sora and his team eventually arrive at Hollow Bastion, the base of Ansem and Maleficent's operations, and the site of what...
Hollow Bastion. Isn't that like the end of the first game? So does none of the stuff that we do in any of the other worlds, Tarzan's world, all that, not actually mean anything to the story? It's just closing up worlds. So it actually really has no effect on the story. It's just some extra shit, huh?
Remains of Radiant Garden, and take on Riku. Riku is bested by Sora and leaves with Ansem. Sora then defeats Maleficent to once again find Riku, who leads him to Kairi's motionless body. Riku then reveals himself to be possessed by Ansem, who explains that Kairi is in fact a Princess of Heart, and informs Sora that Kairi's heart is currently inside of him. Sora defeats Ansem, but cannot seal Hollow Bastion's keyhole due to Kairi's heart remaining in his body. Sora uses Ansem's Keyblade to unlock his heart, releasing his and Kairi's heart in the process. This event, however, turns Sora into a Heartless. Kairi's heart returns to her body, and she uses the strength as a Princess of Heart to return Sora to his human form. Ansem has retreated to the end of the world, a conglomerate of the fragments of worlds taken by the Heartless, where he is found and defeated by Sora. However, Ansem manages to open the door to his artificial Kingdom Hearts, but is quickly killed by the light revealed inside. Mickey and Riku, back in his own body, are seen through the door in the Realm of Darkness. A swarm of Heartless rise and attempt to attack Riku, but Aqua, who had met up with Mickey previously, sacrifices herself to keep them from reaching him. Riku and Mickey then help Sora close the door to prevent the darkness inside from escaping. Sora seals the door, with Mickey and Riku inside, with the promise from Mickey that there will always be a door to the light, and that he will see his friends again. After the door is sealed, the broken worlds reunite, and Kairi is pulled back to the Destiny Islands, with Sora promising that they will meet again someday.
Kairi,
Sora,
no!
Donald, and Goofy then set off to find the door to light, with hopes to rediscover their friends. Back in the Realm of Darkness, Aqua vows to help anybody else she encounters there. Unbeknownst to Sora, when he unlocked his heart, he created a nobody for both he and Kairi, named Roxas and Naminé respectively. Shortly after their creation, Naminé is found in the floors of Castle Oblivion by Organization 13 and is taken captive, while Roxas is found in Twilight Town by Xemnas and recruited as a member of the organization. Roxas, due to being Sora's nobody, as well as Ventus's heart inhabiting Sora, is able to wield both Sora and Ventus's Keyblades, and is placed under the care of Axel, another member of Organization 13, and the two are tasked with destroying Heartless in order to release their...
That explains it a little bit. Alright.
Captive hearts, which the organization can use to create another artificial Kingdom Hearts and become complete beings as opposed to nobodies once again. Shortly after Roxas's induction into the organization, a new member named Xion joins as well. Xion is a mysterious person, whose appearance changes based on the Preceptor's relationship with her. Xion and Roxas bond, and Xion reveals that she is also able to wield a Keyblade. Shortly after, Axel and several other members of the organization are sent to Castle Oblivion to look after Naminé and prepare for the arrival of Sora. Sora, Donald, and Goofy make their way to Castle Oblivion, but upon entering, they lose their memories, and they are replaced by fabrications created by Naminé, who was forced to do so by her captors. Two organization members, Marluxia and Larxene, plan to use Naminé to wipe Sora's memories to use him as a puppet to overthrow the organization. Sora and his friends fight their way through the castle, defeating various organization members along the way, and eventually Naminé is freed. She instructs Sora and his friends to enter memory pods so that they can sleep while Naminé repairs their memories, causing them to lose all memory of her as a result. Meanwhile, Riku, who appeared at the lowest level of Castle Oblivion, fights his way up to Sora in the memory pods, but refuses to seal his darkness inside his heart, instead leaving and telling Naminé to take care of Sora. While Sora is put to sleep, Roxas falls into a deep coma for several weeks, due to their connection. Meanwhile, in an attempt to get back at the organization, Diz invades Castle Oblivion. There, he finds Sora, whom he had observed up to this point, as well as Naminé, and he takes them both back to Twilight Town to oversee the reconstruction of Sora's memories. After waking, Roxas is informed of the organization's loss at Castle Oblivion, including the elimination of all of the members sent there except for Axel. Roxas begins to spend time with Xion and Axel, and the three grow close. Shortly after, Roxas begins to experience Sora's memories as they are restored in Sora, and he starts to question the motives of the organization. Eventually, Xion encounters Riku, who calls her existence into question. Riku later finds her unconscious on Destiny Islands and asks her to come with him to find Sora in order to return the memories of his back to him so he can awaken. Confused as to why she has Sora's memories in the first place, and not wanting to leave her friends, Xion returns to the organization, but Sora's memories begin to absorb faster into her instead of Roxas, making her grow strong while he grows weak, which was the goal of Xemnas. This event also stops Naminé's efforts to restore these memories into Sora. Shortly after her return, Xion leaves once again with Riku to go find Sora. Later, Axel reveals to Roxas Xion's true identity, an imperfect replica of Roxas created by Xemnas as a failsafe if he failed. Upset that Axel had known this but kept it from him, Roxas begs Axel to reveal his true identity as well. Axel refuses, and Roxas follows Xion's lead and defects from the organization, despite Axel's warning that the organization would destroy him for this betrayal. Meanwhile, Xion makes her way to Twilight Town and finds Naminé in the old mansion. Naminé tells Xion what she really is, and informs her that when she returns to Sora, everyone's memory of her will be forgotten. Xion accepts this sacrifice and begins to go to Sora. Before she is able to, however, Diz informs them that the organization has followed her. Xion discovers that it is in fact Axel who had followed her, with the intention to bring her back to the organization to hopefully lead to the return of Roxas as well. Axel succeeds and brings Xion back to Xemnas at the organization's world, the world that never was. Axel faints from exhaustion, but Xemnas finds Xion and begins to reprogram her. Shortly after, Roxas makes his way to Twilight Town, where he finds Xion at the train station. She has taken on an altered form, now resembling Sora almost exactly. Although reprogrammed, Xion is still aware that if she continues to exist, Roxas will eventually fade away, so she tricks him into a battle and forces him to defeat her in self-defense. After the battle, Roxas holds Xion in his arms as she fades, returning the memories and the heart she grew to Sora. Consequently, Roxas loses his memories of her. She asks him to prevent Xemnas from obtaining Kingdom Hearts and expresses her gratitude for his and Axel's friendship before disappearing completely. Roxas makes his way to the world that never was to confront Xemnas, but is stopped by Riku, who intends to capture Roxas to complete Sora's memory restoration. The two do battle, and Xion's lingering influence convinces Riku to stop Roxas at any cost, as she believes he is not ready to take on Xemnas yet. Roxas overpowers Riku, so Riku removes his blindfold and taps into the darkness in his heart, transforming into a new form resembling Ansem, who now resides within Riku. Riku ultimately defeats Roxas and disappears and opens a portal back to the old mansion, where he takes Roxas. Knowing that the organization will always be on the hunt for Roxas, Diz digitizes him and places him in a virtual Twilight Town. Inside the digital world, Roxas lives up.
Yes, I forgot that whole Twilight Town beginning portion of 2 was just the Matrix.
Out a seemingly normal summer vacation, without any memories of his time with the organization. Again, Roxas begins to experience Sora's memories as Naminé is restoring them outside. Soon, nobodies begin to invade his town, along with Axel, who were sent there by the organization after finally discovering where Roxas was hidden. Roxas is surprised when a Keyblade appears to help him fend off this attack, and due to an interruption by Diz, Axel is unable to retrieve Roxas, returning to the organization empty-handed. Roxas also comes in contact with Naminé, which connects his heart with Kairi, Naminé's true counterpart. Kairi is able to use this connection to communicate with Roxas, and when she asks about Sora, he is able to communicate through Roxas and speak to her. As more and more anomalies in the digital Twilight Town begin to take effect, such as time freezing and other various glitches, Naminé eventually reveals the truth to Roxas. She informs him that he is a nobody, and that he will one day meet with the boy he sees in his dreams, Sora. Axel appears again, threatening Roxas that if he does not return to the organization, Axel will be forced to eliminate him. Diz intervenes once more, however, and tells Roxas to meet him at the old mansion, freezing Axel and the rest of the world in its tracks. Roxas complies and meets Naminé at the old mansion, and she tells him that reuniting with Sora will not cause him to disappear, but instead make him whole again. Diz appears to take Naminé away, but not before she tells him that they will meet again one day, even if they don't recognize each other. Roxas eventually regains his memories and realizes that Naminé was telling the truth about him living in a simulation, and being placed there by Diz and a cloaked man, who in actuality is Riku. Roxas finds Diz's computer and destroys it in anger, although it is just a digital copy. Axel appears one more time and the two face off one last time. Due to regaining his memories, Roxas is able to fight to his full ability, including summoning both of his Keyblades. Roxas defeats Axel, who retreats. Roxas expresses that he hopes to see Axel again someday, but he replies that only Roxas has a next life.
Bye, Axel!
Roxas enters the room where Sora is kept, finding a sleeping Donald and Goofy along the way. Diz greets him as he arrives and goads him with remarks about his purpose and existence. Roxas begins to attack Diz, revealing that he is just a hologram. Roxas continues the assault until Diz disappears, and in his place, a pod opens in the center of the room. Inside, Roxas finally sees a sleeping Sora. Roxas accepts his fate and purpose, and smiles sadly, stating that his summer vacation is over while he rejoins with Sora. As Sora begins to wake, he hears Roxas call out his name. Confused, he opens his eyes to instead see his friends, Donald and Goofy, calling for him.
Hell yeah.
Sora and his friends then meet Yen Sid, who informs them of their
Sid. Disney spelled backwards, maybe? We saw that coming.
Namely the Heartless, the Nobodies, and Organization 13. Then Sora, Donald, and Goofy once again set off to protect various worlds from the Heartless, but now discover that there are two groups, one led by the Organization and the other led by a recently revived Maleficent. Elsewhere, Axel travels to Destiny Islands to find Kairi, luring her with a promise to see Sora in an attempt to kidnap her. Riku is able to stop this by creating a corridor of darkness to transport her to Twilight Town, but she is shortly found once again by Axel, who successfully captures her. Shortly after, she is taken by Saïx, Xemnas' right-hand man and Axel's former friend. Meanwhile, a Hollow Bastion restoration committee is formed to restore Hollow Bastion back to its former glory as Radiant Garden. This committee includes Sora, Donald, and Goofy, but also some of the various inhabitants of Traverse Town Sora met at the beginning of his journey. After finding Ansem the Wise's secret lab, including his computer and Xehanort's various notes on the Heartless, the committee discovers that the world is being attacked by Heartless. They fend off the attack to find Xemnas. Mickey runs after him, and quickly thereafter, Sora, Donald, and Goofy find themselves surrounded by a massive Heartless army. The three hold off the attack and eventually catch up to Mickey. Xemnas taunts the group, implying that Mickey knows more about a still missing Riku's location than he lets on, before vanishing in a corridor of darkness with Mickey in tow. The trio are then accosted by Axel, who tries to help them by revealing the organization's plans, but is stopped by Saïx. Saïx instead reveals the organization's intent to Sora, to use the power of Sora's Keyblade to capture the hearts of the Heartless to build the new Kingdom Hearts. Saïx summons a group of Heartless to attack Sora to force him to release their hearts. Suddenly, Maleficent appears to summon her own Heartless against Saïx, but he is able to summon Nobodies that dispatch them easily. Maleficent then attempts to hold off the Nobodies on her own, telling Sora to escape and find a way to defeat the organization, opening a corridor of darkness beneath them, taking them to the Realm of Darkness, which Sora is able to escape to safety using his Keyblade. Sora resumes his quest to rid various worlds of Heartless and Nobodies, eventually making his way back to Twilight Town, where he ends up at the old mansion with Hayner, Pence, and Olette, Roxas' friends in the simulation. They are ambushed by a group of Nobodies, but Mickey arrives for the save, and the group make their way into the basement of the mansion to find Diz's computer, which they use to enter the simulation. Inside, they are again ambushed, but this time by an overwhelming horde of Nobodies. Axel arrives and sacrifices himself to eliminate the horde and save Sora. While on the ground, fading away, he apologizes for kidnapping Kairi, revealing her location to Sora. He reveals that he did it because he wanted to see Roxas again, but admits that Sora makes him feel the same way Roxas did, like he had a heart.
Aww.
With his final moments, Axel opens a portal to the organization's world, the world that never was. After arriving, Roxas awakens inside of Sora, and transports him to the depths of his heart. There, the two do battle, with Sora eventually besting Roxas. Roxas asks Sora why Axel chose to save Sora instead of transforming him into a Heartless to bring Roxas back before departing. Back in the real world, Sora, Donald, and Goofy meet up with Mickey, and the group make their way to the organization's stronghold, the castle that never was, where the new Kingdom Hearts is nearly complete. Inside, Kairi is freed from her captivity
very
by Namine, who
fast-paced.
opens a corridor of darkness she uses to escape. The two are confronted by Saïx again, but are saved by a cloaked figure who turns out to be Riku,
Hopefully you guys are catching this, because this is super fast paced. I mean, we only got, a little over 10 minutes to go, but this has been a lot in this short amount of time.
resembling Xehanort's Heartless. Sora and his friends reach the castle, and Mickey runs ahead to meet with Diz as Sora fights his way through. Saïx eventually corners them and sicks a swarm of Heartless on them, while Maleficent and her lackey Pete take the opportunity to invade the castle. Sora fights through the Heartless, eventually making his way to the upper level where he finally reunites with Kairi and Riku. The group make their way through the castle, defeating several organization members along the way, including Saïx. There, Riku reveals to Sora the truth about his and Roxas's connection, informing him that Roxas is now within him. They reach Diz, now unmasked as Ansem the Wise once again, along with Mickey, who are trying to seal the new Kingdom Hearts using an encoding device. The machine begins to overload, however, just as Xemnas arrives. Xemnas and Ansem argue over who is at fault for the destruction of so many worlds, leading Ansem to regretfully admit his hand in the events. Getting closer to overloading, Ansem apologizes to Roxas for what he put him through, hoping the message reaches him through Sora. The machine then explodes, and Ansem vanishes. The explosion purifies Riku and returns him to his true appearance, but also damages the new Kingdom Hearts, unleashing a giant wave of Heartless, which Maleficent and Pete hold off, allowing everyone else to give chase to Xemnas. At the very top of the castle, they find Xemnas, and Sora fights and ultimately defeats him. Xemnas escapes through a door that opened along with his Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is so fucking epic, dude. They're so epic. I love this fucking franchise.
Sora and his friends enter it to pursue, eventually reaching him in his fortress. Sora and Riku defeat him once again, and he fades away. Everyone then leaves through a corridor of darkness, but before Sora, Kairi, and Riku are able to, Namine and Roxas appear. Roxas and Namine come to peace about becoming one with their respective others again, knowing that as long as Sora and Kairi are together, they can be together as well. Namine merges with Kairi, and Roxas finally merges with Sora. Kairi leads the group through the corridor, but before Sora and Riku can enter it, it suddenly closes and Xemnas appears once again. Together, Riku and Sora are able to ultimately destroy Xemnas and Organization 13 in turn, and escape to the edge of the Realm of Darkness at a beach. There, they briefly rest before a message in a bottle from Kairi washes up. After Sora reads it, the door to light opens, and Riku and Sora run through, sending them back to Destiny Islands. There, they are reunited with Donald, Goofy, Mickey, and Kairi. Upon reuniting, Roxas and Namine are able to connect once more. Afterwards, Jiminy Cricket, who had been chronicling Sora's adventures in his journals, finds that one he had written for their first journey is now completely blank. Instead, all that remains in the journal is the phrase, "Thank Namine," which he had wrote himself as a reminder, knowing he would lose all memory of her after their ordeal in Castle Oblivion. In his investigation into this line, he finds another that he didn't write. "Their hurting will be mended when you return to end it." To solve the mystery of this message, Mickey digitizes the content of the two journals and sends a virtual version of Sora, called Data Sora, to a digital Destiny Islands to relive the journal, Sora's Journeys, and find out who the hurting are. After carrying out the events, Data Sora meets a cloaked figure who turns out to be a Data version of Roxas, whom Data Sora does not recognize. Data Roxas helps Data Sora open a door which he proceeds through to meet Data Namine. She reveals to Data Sora that his real-life counterpart is the key that connects everything due to his connections with herself, Roxas, Axel, and Xion. She also tells Data Sora about Terra, Ventus, and Aqua, who are tied to Sora's heart. It is these 7 figures that real-life Sora must save from their hurting. Data Sora thanks Data Namine, who then erases herself from the notebook. Meanwhile, Mickey meets with Yen Sid, and they discuss finding Ventus, Terra, and Aqua. Mickey says that they may be closer to knowing the location of Ventus's heart, leading Yensid to explain that now they only have to find Terra, revealing that the two are aware Aqua is somewhere in the Realm of Darkness. Yensid also reveals to Mickey that since both Xehanort's Heartless and Nobody have been destroyed by Sora and Riku, his heart and body can now merge to reconstruct his original form, Master Xehanort. Yensid proclaims that this threat is far too strong for only one Keyblade Master, and orders Mickey to summon Sora and Riku to undertake the Mark of Mastery, the final test for those strong of heart to become Keyblade Masters. Mickey then writes a letter to Sora of what he has learned and tells him to bring Riku to meet with him and Yen Sid. He sends the message in a bottle to Destiny Islands, where it washes on shore and is read by Sora, Riku, and Kairi. In the Realm of Darkness, Aqua, still trapped there, finds Ansem the Wise, who had been transported there after the explosion caused by his trying to seal Kingdom Hearts. He reveals to her that his memories are starting to fade, but tells her about a boy he met at least a year ago with a Keyblade who has twice saved the world from darkness. She asks if the boy's name is Terra or Ventus, but Ansem replies that it is neither. He then reveals that he had hid his research within the boy while his memories were being repaired, and that he hopes the boy will one day use this knowledge to open the door to save him and those that are connected to his heart. Aqua asks the boy's name, and Ansem reveals to her that it is Sora. On Radiant Garden, in Ansem's lab, the members of Organization 13 are revived in their original human form due to their nobodies and heartless being destroyed. Members Dylan, Evan, Alias, Yenzo, and Lee, who is Axel's human form, notice that members Bragg and Isa, Sayex's human form, are missing. They retain the memories of their nobody forms, but hold no grudge against Sora and Riku. Lee specifically remembers Axel promising Roxas and Xion to always be there to bring them back. Lee discusses with Yenzo where Bragg and Isa might be, and Yenzo informs Lee that when a person is reformed, they will awaken on the world in which they lost their heart in the first place, unless it has been destroyed, in which case they will awaken in Traverse Town. Lee remembers that Bragg and Isa were in Radiant Garden when they became nobodies, so he leaves to go search for them. Meanwhile, Sora and Riku appear before Yen Sid, who begins their Mark of Mastery exam. The trial sees the two to visit various worlds that have been restored from the Heartless's attack after their first journey, but have remained in a state of deep sleep that disconnects them from other worlds. Sora and Riku must awaken the worlds and return them to the Realm of Light by unlocking the 7 keyholes they find on these worlds. Should they do this, they will obtain the power required to defeat Xehanort and be named Keyblade Masters. They are then sent back in time to Destiny Islands to enter the Realm of Sleep along with the world. Sora dives into the dreams of the worlds, but Riku unknowingly dives into Sora's dreams instead, becoming a Dream Eater and protecting him from his nightmares. While Sora and Riku are away on their exam, Mickey gets a letter informing him that Minnie has been kidnapped by Maleficent and Pete, and he, Donald, and Goofy set off to Disney Castle to rescue her. Once there, Maleficent demands access to the data worlds Mickey created when he digitized Jiminy's journal. Mickey refuses, and a corridor of darkness opens in which Lee's chakrams fly through, blocking Maleficent's attack and causing her and Pete to scramble away. Lee emerges from the corridor, and Mickey recognizes him as Axel. Lee corrects him before the four of them return to the mysterious castle to speak to Yen Sid. There, Lee requests that Yen Sid give him the ability to wield a Keyblade. Yen Sid warns him that this path will not be easy, but Lee persists and is trained by Merlin the Wizard and the 3 good fairies who use their magic to shorten the training period. In the Sleeping Worlds, Sora and Roxas encounter both Xehanort's Heartless and Nobody along with a mysterious young man. After they seal all 7 keyholes, Sora is transported back to the real world and to the world that never was. There, Sora finds that Bragg has once again become his Nobody, Xigbar. The mysterious young man appears once again and places Sora into a deep sleep. Inside this dream, the young man reveals himself to be a young Master Xehanort, and he reveals to Sora his ability to travel through time. Sora travels deeper and deeper into his own dreams, trying desperately to make it to the castle. However, along the way, he is haunted by visions of Naminé, Roxas, Xion, Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, each weakening his heart. Upon reaching the castle, Sora finds both Xemnas and Xigbar, who explain that the young Xehanort has been using his time-traveling ability to gather various incarnations of Xehanort to create a new, real Organization 13. This was the original plan for the organization, to create empty husks that Xehanort could turn into himself by placing within them a fragment of his own heart. However, due to the independence of such members as Axel, Roxas, Xion, and others, this plan eventually failed. Xigbar reveals that he is already half Xehanort, revealing that the current members of the real Organization 13 are Master Xehanort, Young Xehanort, Xehanort's Heartless, Xemnas, and Xigbar. It is also revealed that many nobodies were able to grow hearts of their own, including Axel, Roxas, Naminé, and Xion. Xemnas and Xigbar attempt to turn Sora into one of Xehanort's vessels, but he refuses and does battle with Xemnas. Although he is victorious, the battle does too much damage to his heart, and he falls into a comatose state, and young Xehanort brings him into the castle. There, Sora falls into the darkness, but in order to protect him from being swallowed whole by it, Ventus's heart emerges from Sora and envelops him in Ventus's Keyblade armor. Meanwhile, Riku, after sealing the 7 keyholes, also finds himself inside the world that never was, but inside Sora's dreams. There, he finds Sora's unconscious body floating within a force field since young Xehanort had dragged him into his own dreams. Suddenly, a shadowed being emerges from Sora's nightmare, and Riku defeats it, only to be dragged into the darkness by a still lingering Xehanort's Heartless. Xehanort's Heartless reveals to Riku that he is a Dream Eater, destroying Sora's nightmares along their exam. Xehanort's Heartless attempts to take over Riku's body once again, but Riku is reminded of his initial meeting with Terra as a child, and elects to consume his inner darkness and return it to light. The two battle once again, and Riku prevails, returning out of Sora's dreams into the real world. He makes his way to the castle's throne room, where he finds Sora still asleep. Young Xehanort appears and reveals that Sora will be used as his new 13th vessel, since using Riku and Roxas has both failed in the past.
Shit.
Young Xehanort reveals the other versions of Xehanort to Riku, including a newly revived Master Xehanort. Mickey arrives in an attempt to save Riku and Sora, but is stopped by young Xehanort, whom Master Xehanort has put his consciousness within, allowing him to draw his Keyblade and do battle with Riku. Riku is victorious, but in the time the battle took place, Master Xehanort was fully revived. Xehanort reveals his ultimate goal to create the 13 darknesses to battle the 7 lights to recreate the X-Blade and restart the Keyblade War. Suddenly, Xehanort's Heartless and Xemnas grab Riku and Mickey to restrain them, and Master Xehanort attempts to place a fragment of his heart into Sora. At the last moment, however, Lee appears to protect Sora and block the fragment. Xehanort sends another member of the organization after Lee, which turns out to be Saïx, Isa's nobody. Lee is able to dodge him, and Xehanort summons a powerful Heartless to defeat the group. Donald and Goofy are able to arrive and defeat it, however, and Master Xehanort retreats with his organization, vowing that this is only a temporary setback and that his plan will succeed. The group return to Yen Sid at the mysterious tower with Sora's body and inform him of Master Xehanort's current scheme. In order to awaken Sora, Riku must use the power he obtained by sealing the 7 keyholes to dive inside Sora's body to reassemble his broken heart. Inside, Riku does battle with Sora, inside Ventus's Keyblade armor, which has been corrupted by a nightmare. This frees Sora, but he disappears, causing Riku to use Sora's Keyblade to enter a version of Destiny Islands. Here, Riku meets with what appears to be Roxas, Ventus, and Xion, before finally meeting with a data projection of Ansem the Wise. This projection reveals that Riku is actually accessing the research data that the real Ansem had hidden inside Sora while his memories were being restored. Ansem tells Riku about Sora's ability to connect with others' hearts, and that this ability, along with the data contained in a bottle given to Riku, might be able to bring back those who have been lost. Ansem finally reveals that by defeating the Nightmare, and his subsequent interactions with Roxas, Ventus, and Xion, Riku was able to awaken Sora in the real world. Riku returns to find and awaken Sora, celebrating the end of the exam. Yen Sid reveals the results that while both Riku and Sora performed admirably, only Riku was declared a Keyblade Master, as Sora failed by falling to the darkness. Lee then surprises the group by exclaiming that he will be the next to attempt the Mark of Mastery. He then summons his Keyblade for the first time. Sora then travels back to the sleeping Traverse Town to visit his Dream Eaters. Elsewhere in Castle Oblivion, a still resting Ventus smiles as a result of Sora's happiness. Back inside the tower, Yen Sid and Mickey discuss the history of the Keyblade War and the X-Blade, and conclude that the 7 Princesses of Heart must be protected by 7 Guardians strong enough to stand against the 13 Darknesses. Mickey surmises that they then need one more Guardian, just as Riku appears, who has brought a guest that Yen Sid had called for. Yen Sid reveals that this person can also wield a Keyblade, and to Riku and Mickey's surprise, this person is Kairi. Yen Sid then reveals that in order to protect the 7 princesses, they must rescue Ventus, Terra, and Aqua. Ventus is safely hidden away by Aqua, but she is still lost in the realm of darkness.
He really hasn't done
Mickey
much.
retells his last experiences with Aqua, revealing that she had sacrificed herself to save Riku. Riku is upset at this information being kept from him, but is then informed by Yen Sid that it had to be hidden until a safe means of entering the realm of darkness was discovered. He then informs them that this means has been discovered, and Riku and Mickey are given protective garments by the 3 good fairies. Merlin is also tasked with training Kairi and Lee, and they all leave to begin their assignments. Shortly after, Sora returns to the tower to reunite with Goofy, Donald, and Yen Sid. Sora is then informed that by nearly becoming Xehanort's vessel, Sora has been stripped of many of his powers and abilities. Yen Sid then reveals that the data Ansem the Wise gave to Riku is currently being analyzed by Chip and Dale. Sora is finally tasked with regaining his strength and learning the power of waking lost hearts that he was to learn during his Mark of Mastery. Yen Sid suggests that Sora visit another hero who had once lost and regained his strength, reminding him of Hercules, and he leaves, along with Donald and Goofy, to visit him on Olympus Coliseum. Later, Sora realizes that the lanes between the worlds have been closed, but Goofy remembers Yen Sid saying, "May your heart be your guiding key." Sora then uses his heart to summon a gate to Olympus Coliseum, and the 3 blast off in their ship, leading us to Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, damn.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. And
Let's go, dude. Let's go, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Badass. Badass. I think we're ready for Kingdom Hearts 3 now. I think it's a good time. So we'll be streaming that. Fuck yes. I'm excited for it. A lot of questions were answered. The adventure was great. It was a lot in a short time. I mean, damn. I mean, I wouldn't want it to take too long, but maybe we should have found a longer video that didn't just throw things at you so quickly. But thank you guys for watching. If you want to join the stream, come on over to Twitch. I usually stream on Wednesdays, about 2:30 Mountain Time. So yeah, I'd love to see y'all there. But thanks again, Stony fam. And before we leave, we'll do a quick cheers. Hope everybody has a great rest of their day and doing awesome things. Let's see here. Oh, that's just beautiful. On our way out, nice cheersies. Let's get it, people. Much love, all the love. Peace out. Yeah.